Welcome to Send Tech Debug. Welcome to part 2 of our Azure Migrate VMware series. In this video, we will continue from where we left off. Our appliance is set up, discovery is complete, and now it's time to perform test migration and full migration of on-premises VM to Azure. Let's begin with the assessment phase. I am creating a new assessment, giving it a name. Selecting the workload. Under the General tab, I choose the target region currency and program. Since I don't have Windows Server licensing, I'm unchecking that option and also unchecking the Enterprise license subscription. Next, in the Advanced Azure settings, ensure that the target device is set to Azure Virtual Machine. After reviewing all the details carefully, click Create Assessment. Once assessment is complete, go to Azure Migrate project, open the assessment section and select the assessment you just created. Here you will see the number of discovered servers, their support status. This completes the assessment phase. Now I'm creating a snapshot in vCenter to demonstrate how Azure Migrate behaves when snapshots are present during replication. As a best practice, no snapshots should exist when configuring replication or migration. Now let's move back to our Azure Migrate project. From the left hand menu, I will open Assessments and Migration and then select Replicate to begin setting up replication for our virtual machines. Here I will start by providing the virtual machine details that we discovered earlier during assessment phase. While configuring the target settings, I encountered a warning message. The virtual machine could not be added because it still had an active snapshot. Snapshot can block replication because they lock certain disk states that Azure Migrate cannot process. To fix this, I logged into vCenter, located the affected VM and deleted the existing snapshot. After the snapshot was removed, I went back to Azure Migrate wizard and retired the replication setup. This time the validation completed successfully and I was able to proceed to the next step. It will take some time to sync your on-premise changes to Azure. However, I received another prompt stating contributor permissions were required on the target resource group. This permission allows Azure Migrate to create and manage resources during the replication process. So I assigned the contributor role to the migration service account at the resource group level. Once a role was applied, let's begin the replication configuration process. We will navigate to Azure Migrate, open our project and select the Migration tab. Here I will click on Replicate to start setting up the actual replication job for our virtual machines. In the first step, I will choose the source environment, which is our case is VMware vSphere. Next, I will select the virtual machine that were discovered during the assessment phase and that we want to migrate to Azure. After selecting the VMs, I will click Next to configure the target settings. Under the target settings, I'll confirm the Azure subscription, resource group and target region where these VMs will be replicated. Now I will move to the compute settings section. Here for each virtual machines, I will review and adjust the configuration. For example, select the correct VM size and confirming the security type is set to standard since Windows 2019 operating system is generation 1 system. Next, I will configure the storage settings. For the disk type, I am selecting standard HDD, which is cost effective for test and initial migration phase. Moving on, I will add tags to categorize and identify the migrated resource easily. within the same subscription. Once all configurations verified, start application to begin the process. The Azure Migrate overview, you will see notification showing replication in progress. You can also check your resource group for deployment script automatically created by the migration process. Now the replication has started. Let's move to the replication jobs section to monitor progress for each virtual machine. Here you can see the detailed job information such as replication status, data transfer rate, and any active synchronization task. As a process runs, my virtual machine has reported a failure. Let's open the job details to investigate further. The error message indicates a Datastore file manager permission issue on the vCenter host. This means the Azure Migrate service account does not have sufficient privileges to perform certain file operations during replication. To fix this, I will return to vCenter. I will enable additional permissions such as file management and low-level file operations. I'll return to Azure Migrate portal and restart the failed replication job. This time the job initializes successfully, passes the validation checks, and replication status turns to successful. In vCenter, you will notice background tasks such as snapshot creation triggered by replication. In the Azure Resource group, you can now see disk created for the VMs. Azure notification confirms both VMs are successfully protected. Back in Azure Migrate, check replication health. Here the VMs initially shows a warning, but after few minutes both machines reported healthy replication status. Now I have restarted replication for the Windows Server 2022 virtual machine. This time the replication process has successfully started and showing us in progress with Azure Migrate. Over in vCenter, I can also see the new snapshot has been created for Windows 2022 VM. This indicates that the replication is actively capturing the machine's current state. Additionally, in the Azure Resource group, a new managed disk has appeared for this VM, confirming that Azure has begun provisioning a target resource required for the migration. Everything looks good and the replication is progressing as expected. Now we will begin the test migration phase. Let's go back to the Azure Migrate project and open the replication summary. You can see that out of the two virtual machines, one VM is ready for migration while the other is still showing replication in progress. Let's select the Windows Server 2019 virtual machine and test migrate. In the wizard, we need to select the virtual network. At first, I choose a production network, but Azure Migrate displays a message that using production network is not recommended for test migration. It's best practice to use separate isolated test network. So I'll go back to resource group and create a test network. I'll define a new subnet as well. This will ensure our test migration environment stays isolated from the production. Once a test network is created, return to the test migration wizard. This time select the test network and its subnet and then click test migrate. Azure Migrate now begins the test migration. You can monitor the progress by going to the jobs. Here you will see the test migration job listed as in progress. Click on it, it will show the detailed progress for each task in real time. Next, go back to your resource group. Here you can see a new test virtual machine being created along with its associated resources like the network interface disk. In Azure Migrate, job status shows now test migration completed successfully. Let's verify it. Open the test VM and try connecting it using RDP. Since we haven't assigned the public IP, the RDP connection fails. So instead, let's connect using Azure Bastion. Provide the local administrator credentials and we are now successfully logged into the test VM. Everything looks good. The VM functional and the migration validation was successful. Now let's go back to Azure Migrate, select the same VM and choose cleanup test migration. After a few minutes, all the temporary resources created during the test migrations are automatically deleted. With testing complete, let's proceed with the full migration. Back in Azure Migrate, open the replication summary again, select the Windows Server 2019 VM and click migrate. To avoid data loss, power off the source VM before migrating. I will choose yes and click migrate. Switch over to vCenter and you will see the VM power off automatically, followed by the migration process starting in Azure. After a few minutes, the migration jobs complete successfully. Next, I will migrate Windows 2020 to VM, but this time I will leave powered on to observe how Azure Migrate handles a live migration. And in the resource group, you can see all the resources for the migrated Windows 2019 VM are now available, confirming both VM been successfully migrated to Azure. This concludes our test migration and full migration. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more hands-on tutorial.